Perfect. Okay, welcome everyone to CEDC's. This is our Access for All Accessibility learning series that we've been doing now for a while. This will be the second training of 3 that is related to PowerPoint and presentation accessibility. We are so excited to have Amy Reeser from University of Wyoming being our trainer throughout this wonderful quarter of learning. And I am not going to spend a lot of time talking. I'm going to let Amy take it over and we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, Amy.
Thanks, Amy D. Hi, everybody. My name is Amy Reeser. I'm gonna pull up one PowerPoint and then I'm gonna be pulling up another PowerPoint. So let me go ahead and share my screen and make sure that I'm doing a full screen and not just the PowerPoint. So hopefully that works. Okay.
Can I just interrupt? The link should get you to the PowerPoint online as well. And
Great.
I'll let you go again.
All right, perfect. Everyone's seeing this blue and gray PowerPoint. Good. Okay. So, hi everybody. Welcome to today. I don't know if you want to put with like a show of hands how many were at the session a month ago. Really helpful for me to just know if you were here, if you got oriented. I see some hands being raised. Some thumbs. Good. Okay, so a lot of people were here, so I'm not going to do too long of my introduction, so we can get into the nitty-gritty of PowerPoint. So again, my name is Amy Reeser. I'm with the Wyoming Institute for...
You are showing your presenter view versus the presentation mode. I'm not sure if you cared about that.
I do care about a lot of that, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure which PowerPoint you were going to share first, and I'm like, oh, no, I don't think she wants this one.
Okay, I know I want the whole window. Let me make sure I have my whole window being shared rather than... Huh. Okay, so I'm sharing, I think, just this PowerPoint, and I think I am sharing it in non-presenter view. You should be able to see all my slides on the left-hand side and everything. That's okay for right now, and then I'm going to share a different PowerPoint, because that's what we're going to be doing a lot today, is looking at PowerPoint from the PowerPoint side. So I'm with the Wyoming Institute for Disabilities, and my role is a senior program manager in community training and evaluation. And I was on our founding internal accessibility committee for multiple years, and PowerPoint became the thing I became very interested in and delved into. And I'm still learning PowerPoint. I actually learned just about a tool the other day, like a week ago, that I was like, oh, that would have been cool to know about. So the things we're going to focus on today in PowerPoint are master slides, slide layouts, sections, and then the accessibility checker. So we're going to do that. And what's going to happen is I'm going to pull up another PowerPoint to actually walk through everything, and how to actually use master slides and slide layout and see it all from this live edits component. So, but I can't start that way. It was going to feel really weird to start and present in a PowerPoint that didn't use all the best practices that I talked about last time. And I like literally couldn't do it. So I'm at least starting here, and you all will get access to both of these PowerPoints. One will be the PDF, so you can reference back to all these steps. And then the other one we're going to be doing again live together on our call to kind of show the steps. So first and foremost, we're going to adjust some settings that are going to impact all PowerPoints for you in the future. So you can always go back and change them if you'd like. But the first is we're going to adapt the size. We're going to make a setting change for all PowerPoints for you in the future, where the text does not auto adjust its height and size on its own, right? That auto adjust feature. So it's one of the first things we're going to do. And again, you have all of these for reference when you want to go back, but we're going to go to the file, options, and proofing. So here's file. Down at the bottom is options. And then over here, you have a bunch of different options, and we're going to do a few things in here at the same time. So first, we're going to go to proofing. And here it says, change how PowerPoint corrects and formats text as you type with a button that says auto correct options. We're going to click that. And then I am going to uncheck auto fit title text to placeholder and auto fit body text to placeholder. What that means is I'm going to set a standard font. And if I have too much text, it's going to maintain the font and it's just going to essentially go off the slide, which then is the indicator to me that I have too much text on a slide and I need to fix that. And it ensures that my accessibility of font size stays consistent. As I said, once you change this here, you actually are changing this in all PowerPoint settings that you open up. So do know that you won't need to do this every time you open a PowerPoint. This should just stay the same. So I'm going to press OK. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off design ideas. So, and then I'm also going to turn on my accessibility checker so that I have a little button down here that I can always press to take me to my accessibility checker. So those are the next two things I'm going to do. So I don't like design ideas. We'll talk a little bit about why design ideas is different than designs. And things might be shifting, right? There's changes happening all the time. But for the most part, I find that design ideas don't have a lot of accessibility built into them. And so I tend to just turn them off. Again, options. You do not need to do this if you really love design ideas and you love it popping up for you all the time when you're working on your PowerPoints. But if you don't, and you were like me, we'll do this one. So we're going to go to File, General, and then PowerPoint Designer. So File, again, Options, General, and then you have to scroll down to PowerPoint Designer. And where it says automatically show me design ideas, you'll uncheck that if you would like that feature turned off. And then you'll press OK. And the other thing too is we're going to come to accessibility. And I tend to have both of these on, which is show accessibility status for the accessibility assistant and show accessibility status for each slide. And so if you would like your accessibility to be there for you to check, you can click both of these and press OK. So now what's happened is in the bottom left-hand side, I now have this accessibility checker that's always there for me. Again, and this will be across everything. So if you're working in a PowerPoint and you turn this on and you open a different PowerPoint, this should just be good to go and there for you. I like this because I can easily find it and I don't have to always search and type in accessibility checker because those are the only two ways I know how to do it. So that is the other neat setting is our accessibility feature setting. Okay. So first and foremost, I hope that those settings, if nothing else, were very helpful for you, just in terms of your process with PowerPoint. So next we're going to talk about layouts, and we're going to talk about master slides, layouts, and then the actual slides. And again, show of hand, or you can put it in the chat. I have this open. How many of you use master slides 80% of the time or more? Ooh, I have some hand clapping, some thumbs up. I have a few. Wonderful. Okay, a few people. So it kind of seems half and half, or some like meh, maybe, right? Like maybe kind of, but not fully. And so today we're going to talk about why once you know how to use master slides, you like never go back. This is what you are going to use hopefully from here on out, and you're going to learn why it's so impactful and so powerful. But first, I want to talk about what master slides are and kind of where these things are in PowerPoint. So master slides are a collection of pre-formatted slide layouts, and they control all the slide layouts. You're like, okay, but what's this language of a slide layout? Well, slide layouts, and you can see this, there's actually up here on my ribbon, my tool ribbon. Great. Someone said they recently found out about master slides and the percentage of using it will go up exponentially. It is true. This is just like how I function now, always is using this. So with layouts, your slide layout, and some people don't know about this. So I'm here to show you everything from beginner to advanced. If you click this, this is actually all of the layouts that I have designed for this presentation, right? They have all the same formatting color. I have the type of content, so they all have a title and a name to them, so I know what I'm using, and it helps me to adjust, right? So say I'm doing single title content, and then I realize I actually want it to be a comparison. I realize once I put my text on, I really want it to be two side-by-side things. Rather than rebuild a whole new slide, I can actually just then tell it I want it to be a comparison, and it will auto adjust everything to this comparison for the most part for me. So it helps with that rebuilding component. And as I said, when I press layouts, I can see all of my layout options. The other thing you can do is you can right click on a slide and layout, and it'll show you the same thing. And you can even see here that this layout is titled Win 2026. It is a design that I developed for us internally here at Wind, with all of our color schemes, our logos, right? And then I've been able to create additional things that I like to use in presentations that aren't a part of what PowerPoint typically gives me. So these are slide layouts, and all of these slide layouts are controlled by the master slide set. And then you have your individual slide, right? This number 7 is individual slide that is based on a layout that is based on a master slide. And so just some of that language to help orient us to what we're talking about. So why will we want to move into using Slide Master? Master slides control everything. I mean, they control everything. They control the color scheme, my background, my font choices, the structure of my bullets, my spacing, if I like certain spacing. Yeah, and so I'm going to show you the next thing. And then I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint that we're going to work on remediating together. So there's 2 ways to think about PowerPoint. One is at the very end, I'll show you that when you have something you really like, you can actually save it as a design, and then you're going to be able to pull that design up anytime you want, or to save your PowerPoint as a template that you can then again pull up anytime you want, rather than pulling up an old PowerPoint that you really liked and then deleting all the content and then like bringing in all new content. You can actually just start with something fresh with your design already developed for you. While we're talking about design, before I go into that next part, if you click on design, these are a bunch of built-in PowerPoint designs. So as you see here, it says custom. This is my custom design that I've created for Wind. So you're going to be, this is where you'll save this if you want to, if you develop something you love that's, again, for your organization, you have that here. And then these are all built in by Microsoft. Now, structurally, these designs are accessible. They have headings, they have the reading orders in the appropriate in the appropriate way. And so some of those structural components are accessibility-wise are already built into these. And so always know that you can use these and then adapt them if you'd like. I don't know that some of these are best practice in terms of like maybe being overstimulating for individuals or having like too much background to color contrast, right? But again, they do have the basic accessibility component built in. I cannot say for certain that design ideas, that little box that pops up on the right, has that. I've run into trouble with the design ideas slides popping up and then me having to do a lot of remediation on those. Now that might be changing as Microsoft is also doing a lot of work all the time in terms of building in more accessibility. So that design ideas might be built in the future. But for the moment, if you're really safe using these designs. Okay. So to go to master slides, you go to view. And then in view, you're going to see you have your presentation view, right? So how I want to present. You have master view with slide master, which is what we're going to be spending a lot of time in today. I don't tend to do a whole lot of stuff over here, but I just learned, so you are now learned, well, you might already know, but I just learned I can click this thing called New Window, and it actually just duplicates my PowerPoint, but not as a separate file. It's the same document, and I can view it in two different ways. So I'm going to show you what that means. Except you can't see that because it didn't share correctly. Yep. Oh, the joys of things changing all the time. I really would like to show my whole screen, and it's only giving me options to share specific documents. I'm not sure why. If anybody unmutes and knows exactly how to make it so it'll let me share my entire screen, I would be very grateful.
I'm double checking to make sure that you can anything advanced wise.
Oh,
Docs. Ah, there you go.
okay. Oh, there was a setting on your end.
So it
Okay.
changed it. Apologies. Yeah, I went into the advanced section. So can you share it? Can you do it now?
It's
No.
still not letting me.
Since all participants are just allowed to share docs. Let me
Share
see.
settings. Let me double check something else on my end. Share an entire desktop. I got it. Okay. It was a setting I needed to adjust on my end. Sorry, all. Zoom is changing. As you all know, Zoom is changing things all the time. So hopefully I can make this work now. Okay. Are you seeing two side-by-side PowerPoints right now? One that says Slide Master. Okay, beautiful. Thank you for giving me a few minutes to figure that out, everybody. So I'm going to show that again, and hopefully that doesn't cause chaos. So here I'm in my view, and I have this new window button. And so if it's showing, it actually just gave me a new window of the exact same PowerPoint. It's the exact same file. It's not a different file. But what I can do now is I can have one that I go and I view with the master slide. And in the other one, I can actually still see my live presentation or the presentation that I'm working on. And this is very helpful if you're trying to make these changes and you want to see if they're working, okay? So I just learned this tool and I found it extremely helpful while doing some of this. Okay. So this is Slide Master. So again, I go to View, Slide Master, and here I am in my Slide Master view. And when I click on this, I have the Slide Master button that now comes up, right? Because most of these tools are very adaptive and they only turn on when you need to utilize them. And then as soon as you're out of them, they kind of go away. So this is my Slide Master. And what this shows is this very top one is called your parent slide. And what, for the most part, I'm going to say for the most part, whenever you change something to this, you're going to see it make a change to everything underneath it. These are all called child slides typically. So you have your parent slide. When you change something, it should affect all of the child slides that are underneath it. And you can have more than one parent slide. You can have more than one master slide. I can come in here and I can actually insert slide master. And now I have a whole new parent slide and children that are associated with it. That is a different look than what I have up here. Okay, so you can have more than one, and this can be very helpful if maybe you have two different people who are kind of presenting and you want to change the theme between the two of you, right? So perhaps maybe I'm presenting and I'm with Wind and I have all of my logos, but then I'm going to be co-presenting maybe with someone from a different USET or a different LEN that has their colors and their logos. Rather than us trying to change all of our slides individually and doing all this stuff, we're just going to have two master slides and then we can select which one is appropriate based on who's presenting. So that might be why you might want two of these. I don't need this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. And I just am left with my master slide. So my master, which is my parent, and then all of the child slides associated underneath. So that's on here, so you can see how to access that. And we talked about slide layouts, right? How to find your slide layouts. Oh, that button. That was kind of not great. So this is just, again, this PowerPoint is going to be reference for you to find these tools again as you need them. Okay. Last thing I'm going to talk about is our ribbon, and then we're going to dive into master slides and making some changes. So just good things to know about your ribbon in general, right? There's a lot of tools in here, and sometimes we might forget to use some of them. So common tools I use when I'm developing any presentation is under my home. I tend to do a lot with this change case, right? So if I really want to change my case, if I have this selected and I go to change case, I can actually decide that I really want this slide and only this slide to be capitalized all, right? Or lowercase. I also just learned this fun thing. If you click this little button, that's the arrow down, you also have small caps and all caps, and they are different in terms of their size. And so if you really like all caps, but it feels aggressive, you can also do small caps and see what happens. So there's my small caps. It still has a little bit of that capitalization in it, but now they're all capitalized versus if I click this and go to fonts, and maybe I actually want it to be all caps. Some differences there. Kind of fun. But again, we're not going to be making changes to slides individually because we're going to be using master slides, but these are just good tools to kind of know about. Another one too is this, how you want things to kind of be oriented in terms of top bottom. I have found a lot of people, if they want it to be bottom, they'll do like this enter. And so then what happens is I now have a blank line and then a line underneath it. And this is going to be read by a screen reader as a space. So it'll literally say like space, know your ribbon. And we don't want that. But if I do want it to be justified down, then I can click this button and there's my bottom justification versus a top justification versus middle, right? So really helpful to know to reduce that space thing. And then you always have more options, right? There's a ton of options that we get in these tools. And then lastly, and again, I'm going to show these in a different space because, as I said, we don't do this individually on slides. We do this on our master. But just to know some of these tools I like to use a lot is line spacing. So sometimes people feel like their spacing is too condensed and they want more space between them. Again, I have seen a lot of people do space, right? They'll do, I really want this, but I want it to look like that. So I'm going to add spaces to get it oriented on the page. Well, rather than do that, instead I'm going to maybe do this line space option. And so you can line space option everything, or if maybe I just want more space between my top bullet and my second bullet, I'm going to just add a lot of space between them. And so now I've just created space between my top bullet and then everything underneath it. Again, really helpful if you're trying to get that orientation without doing space. And this is all true in Microsoft Word. So again, all of these options are available to you in Microsoft Word. Just some things I see a lot when I'm remediating that's just helpful to show other people. Okay, so those are kind of the core. Oh, and then the last one is up here in paragraph is also if I want it centered, right justified or left justified, right? Just being able to use these are, again, just really great in terms of adjustments. Okay, so I am now going to pull up my other PowerPoint so we can start looking at how do we remediate a PowerPoint using master slides. So I'm going to minimize and I'm going to try and share this and we're going to see if this works. I'm going to try this. Okay. Are you now seeing a purple presentation? PowerPoint presentation. Great. Okay. So this is might just need some help PowerPoint. Again, all of you hopefully got access to this. And if you would like, you are more than welcome to open this up and pull it up on a screen and practice doing this with me together. So this is the exact same presentation that I have in my, that I was showing you, except I used a Microsoft design idea. Okay. And we'll see some things here. So as we know, we have some font here that's serif font, right? So I'm probably going to want to change that. I don't know, this pink seems a little aggressive for me, so I might want to adjust that. And as I go through this, like my font size is a little smaller than I know I want it to be. some of my layout didn't move over correctly, and I'm going to show how that is and some quick changes we can do for that first. And then, as I said, we're going to go over and fix this all on the back end. But one thing I want to show you is because we turn this accessibility feature on the left-hand side, you're now going to see this little accessibility human icon on the left, and this is going to tell me there's an issue. This didn't show up on the other one because I had it remediated and fixed, but there's issues on all of these slides that have the little like 3 dots. If it doesn't have it, oh yeah, so it's telling me that these have some remediations that needs to happen for an accessibility reason. Not all of them, but some of them. So this is a good thing for me to know. And I want to change some things. Now, first off, when we talked about slide layout, some things I have noticed is like, why is my picture all the way up here when it should be lower down? And so one thing we do is we are going to make sure that this is actually associated with a slide layout and not just with a slide design. And so if I right click this and I go to layout and I know I want this to be 2 column, I'm going to hit 2 content and it auto now will adjust something, right? So now this is like, oh, this is a 2 content based on the content design of the slide. So at least I now have like my picture down here. And so I like to check things like this, especially if things are just looking a little weird. I like to go through and kind of see if that's part of what's happening. Okay, so I want to fix a few things. Font, maybe some color choices, the size of my font. Oh, and my bullets, right? So all my bullets are these triangles, but we know that most of these aren't accessible to screen readers and we need them to be dots, right? And again, I could go and change every single 18 slide, but I don't want to because there's an easier way. So we go to View, Slide Master. All right, here's my slide parent. And things that I adjust on the slide parent will affect most of the child slides. And we're going to talk about why not all. So first off, I want to change my font, right? I know that this font is not accessible. So I'm not even going to click on anything in specific. I'm just going to click the parent slide. And then under Slide Master, you actually see there are themes. So I could change my theme right now if I wanted to. And it'll change everything. Oh, let's see if I can do it. Ready? View. New window. There we go. And this is live. I can show you. Hopefully this is showing up for everybody. Can you see both screens? Like 2 different Okay, great. Now you can see like, oh, it made all these changes on my PowerPoint presentation. I can see that in real time. That's why I like to have this window thing open now that I learned about it. Wish I'd known about this like 3 years ago. Okay, so if I'm here and I'm in Slide Master, I can change my theme. We're going to go back to what we had. And you can see it affected my entire presentation. But I want my font to be different. So I'm going to click fonts. And I'm a Calibri person. I really like them. It's my personal preference. You might have your own. Maybe you really like Arial. But I'm going to change these to Calibri. And so now what's happened is on every single slide underneath here, my font has changed to Calibri. And if I look on the right side, I can now see that my presentation, everything is now Calibri. This is, again, why we don't make changes on an individual slide when we try not to, because as long as I can do it here, it's going to translate everything in my presentation. So I'm looking at this and I realize that, one, I do not want these bullets to be triangles. I really want my bullets to be circles. So if I go to Home and I click my bullet under the paragraph section here, I have this option of filled round bullets, and I'm going to click that. And now every single slide underneath, all of my bullets are these round circles. Okay, another thing. Maybe I don't like how much space is between my bullet, because if you can go in, there's a lot of space, right, between my bullet and the words. And I don't like that. I like them to be closer together. So again, rather than highlight all of these, I'm just going to select the this component of the parent slide, right? This adult slide up here. And I'm oh, maybe I have to be like this. maybe I have to do this. But I'm going to take and give more space between I'm going to take less. Oop, I did not like that. We do not want that. Oh, nope. Okay, this thing I want to show you might be a little more tricky than I wanted. This one I might have to do individually, and that is okay. Because there's the difference between providing that to every single thing versus one by one. Because again, I can actually change the level of my bullets. And if maybe I want my third bullet to be bold and green, I can do that. And if I highlight it, it only affects that level of the bullet. So I am changing every bullet level here. Not ideal, but it is going to make sure that it gets me what I want. And then again, if I now click all my child slides, have that reduced space between the bullet and the font. And if I look over on my right-hand side, I can see that there's pretty minimal space between my bullet and my words, and that all of my bullets are this round. And I can do other things. So if I click on this and I actually really want my bullet color to be a different color, let me show you, because I think I go a little fast. I'm really used to this. I'm going to click here and I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to click my bullet under my home and bullets and numbering. And I actually can change my color. So maybe I really want this to be black. Now all of my bullets are black, right? And again, this way it's adjusting all of these things I want, and it's all impacting my presentation without me doing anything to the individual slides by themselves. Some other things is I feel like this is taking up a lot of white space, and so I actually want to make this larger. I'm like, and oh, that's a picture. Fun. Okay. Oh, and my font size, right? So I know right now that my smallest font is 12 and my largest is 18. And what we know with best practice is I always want my smallest font to be 20. So this 12 plus up here, right, that tells me that the minimum size is 12 and it goes up. And so I actually want this to be 20 to go up. So I'm going to click 20. Nope, that didn't work either. Sorry, everybody. Fun times. That should have worked though. Why did that not work? Sometimes you do things and you don't understand why they didn't work for everything. Oh, I'm going to click the up arrow. That's what I'm going to do. Sorry. So that, again, I'm showing you all the fun tools that sometimes we forget what they do and why. So again, so this is telling me it's 12 plus. So the minimum is 12 and it just goes up from there. If I select this and I did one thing in 20, it's going to make everything 20. Okay. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this and I'm going to press the increase font size, because it's going to auto adjust everything up. So I actually want this to be 20 plus. So now my very smallest level, my 5th level is 20. My very highest level is 32 because it auto adjusted in whatever the word is I'm looking for, in conjunction or comparison with what it was before. So we just, and if you're like, oh, that's still a little too big or a little too low, to adjust them all by decreasing by 1 point size, then you can arrow down. So again, I think it took me a long time before I really understood the difference between these 3 things, probably longer than I'd like to admit, but now that I have it, I understand, oh, that's what it does. And again, this has now changed all of my slides with my font size. So every single place that had this has, oh, I don't know why that one didn't change though. That's funny. Has changed this. Okay, so that's what we see. While we talk about some of these sections, I do want to tell you too, there's this fun component under Slide Master. This is Master Layout. And here I can decide like what my placeholders are going to be. So if I really know that I'm never going to use a footer or a date, I can actually I can remove those from here. But this is going to say that my placeholders options are always going to have a title, a text, a date, a slide number, and a footer, which is why you see all of these things down here. Okay. I don't see any questions in the chat. Feel free at any point in time if you have a question or if I go too fast. Oh yeah, so minimum font size for accessibility standards, and this was presented, and I can, it's actually maybe even in this PowerPoint, is for presentations, we don't want our PowerPoint font to be less than like 20 it's like between 18 and 20 is the best practice. But I try not to go below 20 as my smallest font on a slide. And then the other trick is you should stand 6 feet away from your presentation and see if you can read it. So, and that's why for the accessibility best practice. Okay, so I think you guys are seeing, right? Like, oh, this is happening, and in real time, it's literally changing everything in my presentation. Now, all of my font is a different size. My um, my font is now consistent in terms of what I wanted it to be, right? We wanted a sans serif font, a font without the little like extra poop lines on sides of it. I don't know, maybe I really don't like this gray and I want it to be black. So again, I can click this. And I'm gonna go to colors. Nope, you can do that too. You can change a lot of things with these colors. I'm gonna go to home and I'm going to make it a black instead of gray because I know that black is just better contrast. And so here I go. And now again, all of these have been changed. And in my presentation, they've all been changed. So here's something that we're gonna see. So all of a sudden, if you look, I've adjusted this font size, right? And so now this font size is 32, and all of my words are coming off the slide because in the beginning, we turned off the auto adjust correct, okay? So I know now either one, I have too many words on a screen and I need to adjust this. Two, maybe I actually just need to create additional space so that it's all on one, right? And this might be a slide by slide choice that I do. Maybe I don't want this to all be full, and I'm actually going to add some bullets, and that's going to, again, auto decrease my size a little bit. Again, so this is like the individual side that I need to go in and adjust, but at least I know that all of the formatting is now consistent across them, and I need to go in and do some adjusting. It might also be that I realize that, this is a layout of a 2x2. I might want to just kind of adjust this a little bit, or maybe I'm realizing that I think there's way too much white space up here. And I think that this is kind of wasted space and I could utilize this better. And this is taking up too much. Maybe I want to go fix that. So I'm going to go fix that. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take this section and I'm just going to move it up. And maybe I also want to move it down. I might have to change this for all the child slides, and I'm okay with that because I'm only going to change it 8 times instead of 18 times. I'm going to give me some more space here. And maybe I don't like that this is pink, right? So this is pink and maybe I don't like that. So again, I can just select these two and come in here and I don't know, maybe I want it to be dark blue. Maybe I also want this to be, sorry, fonts. Maybe I actually want these to be bold. And I want them to be small caps. I'm going to click OK. And now they're bold, small caps, blue. And so if I have anything over here that had one of those components, oh, I don't. Apparently I did not use the slide. But now if I want to add this slide in, new slide, and I want to do this comparison, here's my comparison. I can add in comparison 1, comparison 2, and it's good to go, right? And if I had something that I wanted to be this, so maybe I really want this to be a comparison, I can choose my layout and go to comparison, and now it's going to do that. But again, I'm going to have to clean this up a little bit, but at least all of the formatting I want is over here now. Okay. Other thing that tends to happen a lot that we'll see is, let me show you the presentation. And as you can see, I have our wind logo, but I have my wind logo in multiple places and they're on every screen and they're separate, right? So if I were to mess around with something, I could do this. But what if I like this and I want this to be on every single slide? Because I have it on this slide, but it's a little different. And again, it's in the way and I can move stuff and I have to figure it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete most of these. And again, because I added these to each slide individually, I have to now delete them from the slide itself. But so I'm going to delete them so they go away and they're not in my way anymore. And let's say that not only is it going to be wind, but I want to highlight the work that I'm doing with AUCD on this. So I'm going to take these and copy them. And then I'm going to go into my master slides and I'm going to add them here. So first off, now they're on every slide, but I don't love this layout, but you can see now they're on every slide, right? And I can move anything I want, but those are going to stay stationary. So I'm going to just spend a little time getting them organized the way that I really want. So I'm going to make this smaller. Maybe I actually don't want this footer here. I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to put the Institute for Wyoming Institute for Disabilities over here. Maybe put our little logo. I want my little logo there. And I've made sure that my words, theoretically, my box for this is going to stay above here. So I know, again, what I want. I also want to give myself some more space to have my words. So I'm actually going to also extend this. And now when I look at my presentation, you can see that I have the AUCD logo and the University of Wyoming wind logo on every single slide. It's not in the way. I can't move them. And I'm also seeing that sometimes I might have to adjust my slide to make sure that my words aren't going over. And if they are, then I need to adjust what's on this slide, right? Too much text, maybe too large, etc. But as you can see, now I have my branding and my branding's just done. Again, this is something I see a lot where people will take their logo and just copy and paste it on every single slide over and over and over again. In 30 seconds, I was able to just have it where I want it. Or maybe I don't like this placement and I want it moved over a little bit. I can do that. And again, now it just is in its rightful place everywhere. Some additional things to know about with master slides is that sometimes I might not want something on certain slides. I don't want it repeated. So here you see that there's no logos on this type of slide, which is a title slide, layout slide. I don't have it on here, and that's because in Slide Master View, there's a little button that says Hide Background Graphics. If I unselect this, oh, it will not let me because this was a pre-designed one. Okay. This is really weird. Okay. This purple that you see right here, the reason you can't change this purple is actually because this is an image. These are just layered images of things that have been grouped together. So this is actually just a border that's been added. But I can change my border if I really want to. So say I want to change my border on this, I can right click it. And maybe I just want my outline to be black, or let's make it really obvious, orange. Now my border is orange and I can adjust that and it'll only affect this slide and this slide only, right? So there's the difference between a parent slide, adjusting everything, and a child slide and the things I only want on the child slide. So for instance, I want my, this slide for this style, maybe I actually want my font to be magenta. So it didn't affect everything. So my two columns are still black because that's what I had. And my master slide is still telling everything to be black in terms of font. But for this style, I want it to be magenta. So again, I come over here and I'm going to be able to see. Oh, hold on. These are all two columns. That's why. Get to know what your slides are very quickly. I use a lot of two-column slides, it looks like, but this is not a two-column slide. This was a single slide with single content. And so it changed it all to magenta pink, okay? So again, that didn't affect the whole presentation. It only affected this slide design style, the slide layout. Is this making sense to people, like some of these differences? Okay. Great. But again, some of these are going to be a little different. So as I said, this has under slide master, hide background graphics. If I were to get rid of this, you can see the graphic is still there. If I click hide background graphics, now they're all gone because I don't want that design here on this. As I said, this is a Microsoft developed one, so it's there's a lot of layers to it, and I'm not going to get into layers today. It's like a whole different topic of conversation. So, but all of my changes are starting to happen. And again, maybe on this 2-column, I actually don't want this to be pink, but I want it to stand out a little bit more. And here's, will it let me? No. Let's see what happens. Oh, it will not because it's a design up here. So maybe in the entire presentation, I actually want this to be, I don't know, red. So what I can see is, again, it didn't affect this slide because it's not part, it's like we're kind of disconnecting it a little bit from the master, but it's going to affect other ones. And this also lets me know some of these differences. So here again, hide background graphics. And so this one just has a different design in the sense that it is still keeping with some of the themes, but not all of them, which also gives you control, right? This comes back to, again, maybe you want this presentation to be cohesive in terms of the purple, but I want to make it so that if I'm working with North Dakota is going to have a little bit of a different design, and Wyoming's going to have a little bit different design all under here, but the changes are slight, right? Maybe it's just the color of this fun little thing. And whenever I'm doing it for my organization, it's going to be, I don't know, that color, right? And so this shows you very easily which ones are going to be connected with the master slide and which one are not. And it's all based on this hide background graphic thing. Okay, so I think I've shown you a lot of the power of master slides and what it does. We've been changing some things to make this more accessible. You can also decide in the end if you're like, I really don't like this color scheme. Again, under master slides and then color, you can decide if you really want it to be blue-green. And again, now it's just going to change everything to blue-green, but all it changed was the color theme and nothing else. Okay, so I think I've shown you how to make changes to individual slide layouts. Again, if I just want to change one thing like the second level and I want it to be a little different and I want it to be yellow, we would never do that, but there it is. And it only will affect now this bullet on this type of slide layout for this one column size. So a level of control is really high. And what's really nice, if that's what I want, I don't have to try and change that on all 18 slides individually. It's just going to auto do it. And if I don't like it, I can undo things very easily. Real time. Okay. Good. We're almost, okay, we have about 10 more minutes, 5-ish more minutes. I don't see any questions. Please, at any point, unmute and ask me a question or put it in the chat. I'd also like to see if any of this is new to you. So if you're like, I'd love to hear like what's one takeaway you're taking from this, because it'll be helpful for me to know like what are people's levels, especially for next time we come together. So the other thing I want to talk about, and when you're done, at any point, you just close master slides and you get out of it. Oh, great. Wonderful. This is just completely new to some people. Love that. I'm glad this is helpful. Okay, so let's also say that I have this 2-column, but I really want a 3-column. I can actually insert a layout. And then I can insert placeholders. So this, as you see, has nothing on it. It's still connected to my parent. And let's say I want to insert some placeholders. I actually, again, under master slides can do this insert placeholder, and I have options of what I want to insert. So maybe I want this to be a 2-column that also has room for a photo. I'm going to insert content. I'm going to say, here it is. There it is. Again, everything I did in my parent shows up here. Maybe I wanted this to be 2, so I'm going to copy and paste it and make a second. And then I also really want to add a place for a picture on the far right. I select that and I'm going to be like, and I want this to be a picture placeholder. So there's my picture placeholder. Now, I highly recommend you rename these. So I'm going to turn around, I'm going to rename this, rename layout, and I'm going to call it 2-column with photo. So now when I'm over here in my presentation and say I really want to add a 2-column with a photo under new slide or right clicking new slide, any one, whoops, sorry. Did not work the way I wanted it to. New slide. There it is. There's my 2-column with photo. Click that in. Now it's ready for me to go and I can just start adding things in. And because I built it in the master slide and I built it using those components that were built in, one, because I placed it in the order I did, my reading order should be accurate from left to right. Two, it's going to read it properly in terms of this is content, this is content, this is a photo, and my placeholders are correct to those, which is really cool. So that's that. Okay, the last thing I want to show you all is sections and why sections are so great. So down here in the bottom right-hand corner is this, oh, actually, I'm just going to close master slides and we're just going to be in this one presentation. So down here in this right-hand corner is these slide sorter, and you can press slide sorter, and this is actually all of my slides. Really easy for me to look at, which is a great way to decide if I want to move something. But what I do have is I have 2 sections here. I have an AUCD Coffee Chat PowerPoint training section and then a layouts section. But let's say I know that some of this is really different. And so these are called neat settings. And so maybe I want to add a section here. And I want to call this section neat settings. So I'm going to rename it. And so neat settings is here and it has these slides. And then I have my layouts, but not all of these are layouts, right? At some point it changes. And maybe know your ribbon needs to be a setting thing. I don't actually want it under layout. So I'm actually going to change and take my ribbon. And I want to move that here. So now they're moved. And I don't have to try and like scroll, right? I don't know how many of you will have a slides set that's like 30 slides. You're trying to like scroll and move it and you can't remember where it goes. I can just move things very easily here. I have layouts. And then I have, this little thing called organize with sections. So I want this to be a new section. I'm going to add a section called sections. Great. So I have some sections. And then here I get into an accessibility checker thing. And then here I have questions. So I'm going to, again, add some sections. I'm going to call this wrap up. So you can see it. All right. I have the AUCD PowerPoint training. I just kind of more like the title of the overarching thing. I have neat settings. I have layouts. I have sections. I have wrap up. And I know here this is accessibility checker. So maybe I want this to be its own section. Okay, so now I have all these different sections. They're here. If I click the slide sorter again, it's just going to take me back to my PowerPoint presentation. But now the order has changed in terms of what I want. And you also see here, now I have these sections. So maybe I'm doing some remediation and cleaning and I know that I'm done. I actually just hide that. And now those slides kind of go away for a little while because they're not my focus anymore, but it does tell me that I have 5 slides there. I can also right click and collapse all. And now I just see only my sections and the number of slides in each of them, which is great from a training perspective because I don't want to spend too much time on one subject and not enough on another. So I can see here like, ooh, maybe I'm not spending enough time talking about accessibility because I only have 1 slide on it, but I have 6 slides on layout and 5 slides on settings and 3 on section. Like maybe I either need to combine some ideas or I need to expand some topics so that I know that I'm giving equal weight to where I want. You can, again, right click, expand all, and here they all are. The other thing with sections is maybe I decide that I actually don't want any of these layouts at all. I can click here. I can remove section and slide. Now they're all gone. I mean, I can Control Z and they all come back, but now they're all gone. And when I use this, it's because sometimes I do multi-day presentations, but our slide deck stays really similar, but I only want to send that day's information to them. I'll make a copy of the PowerPoint. I have all of them highlighted by days, and then I just delete the section of days that they don't need and pull out what I want. Or I just pull out the section that I want into a new presentation and just only send them that. Okay, someone said this is incredible. And the number of times they tried to move slides within presentations have been really difficult. So yeah, this, right, slide sections. And I'll admit, like, I only really understood the power of slide sections maybe a year ago. Like, I didn't understand fully what I could do with them. I labeled things and didn't know how to use them better. But then I learned this, changed a lot of things. So you can see here, I can change the entire orientation of my presentation in one fell swoop rather than that copy, paste, move, whatever that I used to do for a really long time. Okay. The last thing, again, and we will probably hold this off until we meet next time, is now, again, I have my accessibility checker. And if I click this, it actually brings up the accessibility checker on the right-hand side. It's telling me what I need to fix in the future. Missing alt text, missing slide titles, duplicate slide titles. We know that every slide needs to have a unique slide title. So this is going to show me that so that I know to fix it. And again, I can close out of it and get rid of it, or I can click this button and it just shows up for me. And I almost build all my presentations with my accessibility checker built in and up and on. So we're going to finish this next time we come together. So sorry, so it's blue, but our next time together is going to be July 16th, and we're going to reflect. So hopefully between now and then, you might be working on a PowerPoint presentation. If something didn't work, if something's not working, if you can't quite understand something, it's our time to come back and problem solve together. Also, we'll talk about the accessibility checker, and again, how to use that. And then 3, I'm going to show you how you create poster presentations for conferences using PowerPoint and these master design slides. So that'll be next time, because we know it's conference season and proposal season. And so I'm going to show you how to build poster presentations with different design options and ideas that then you can share with the rest of your organization. So I hope I'll stop sharing. And feel free to play with this live edit PowerPoint and like mess around with it, right? You truly can't mess this one up. So any more than it kind of already is. But play around with it and then see what doesn't work and what does, and what you like and what you don't. That's all I have, Amy D.
This has been so good, Amy. Oh my gosh, I have learned so much, and I view that I will be able to like save so much time once I have built some things and once I've actually like tinkered with everything of like, oh, the amount of time I've spent doing some of these things that are like literally a click is going to be fantastic. So thank you so much. This was really, really good. I have put into the chat for that next meeting time, which is Thursday, July 16th at noon Eastern. If you are not yet registered for that, please make sure that you do get registered. As Amy said, this is a great opportunity to really like problem solve, talk through some of those issues that you've experienced, things that you have been working with and just cannot quite figure it out. And so we're excited for that. And then I had put out some information before, but we are looking for our next element of our series, which is on digital and social media accessibility, which will start in August. If that is an area of expertise for you and you are willing to share your knowledge and expertise with us, we would really welcome that. I will throw my email in the chat, and please reach out to me if that is an area that you would be willing to present on for CEDC. We would really love to connect with you and work with you for this. So if anybody has any other questions, feel free to stay on for just a couple of minutes and ask. Otherwise, we hope to see you all next month on the 16th. You go ahead and turn off that recording, Anna.